Hey YouTube, what's happening? It's Richard, founder of Short-Term Rental University and professional real estate developer. And I've been spending a lot of time during this quarantine. In fact, I just filmed a video about the gift of quarantine, thinking about sort of what the future for short-term rental hosts look like, what I want to continue to teach, what I want you to think about, how I want you to view the opportunity set. And as always, I really encourage you to like the video and take charge of your own business. We're seeing a real uptick in HostSaver, people having their own websites. I think that's a really important feature. We're seeing more visits to people's websites. We're seeing more bookings on a daily basis. And I think part of the future of the short-term rental hosting opportunity set is for people to have their own brand and their own business and have control of that. And so if you just think about that for a second, think of Shopify versus people that list only on Amazon. And the right way to do that e-commerce analogy is to have a presence on Amazon, which in this case would say be Airbnb and VRBO, and also Shopify, where they have their own website and their own relationships with their own clients and customers. And that would be via HostSaver or your own website. I don't really care how you do it. We just want to help you get there. And I think that's a big part of the future. But I want to share with you sort of the way that I've been thinking about the trends in the short-term rental market and what works and what doesn't work. And then I'm going to share with you, as best as possible, a SWOT analysis where we're looking at strengths and weaknesses and different quadrants of opportunity. So the first thing I see is much more demand in rural and vacation areas. Think of them as beach houses, mountain houses, farm escapes, anywhere where people can go and have privacy, do their own thing with their family, friends, and loved ones. And I see that really the exact opposite in congested cities, urban areas. I think there will be less travel in the immediate future to those destinations. So rural, beach, VRBO type locations continue to thrive at the expense of people that say, you know what, I really want a vacation right now in Times Square in New York City, the epicenter of COVID. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think there will be far more driving done to the right locations. They get in their own car and they play games and songs and whatever with their friends, family, kids. I see fewer people getting on airplanes in the immediate future. So places where people can go recreate and drive there, bid up. Places that require international travel, negative. Now, I have a property in Costa Rica, which is mostly international. So I hope I'm wrong. I would like nothing more than my hotel to be really full. But the thing about that location in Costa Rica is that it's really unique and it's a small tribe that we appeal to. And my belief and my bet is we will continue to see a lot of people coming there because they just can't get that experience anywhere else. But if I just had a vacation rental in, say, like Cancun, Mexico, and I had to get on an airplane and I could go get a beach vacation somewhere else, I'm not sure that people are getting on airplanes anytime soon, and that could take a little while. I've actually been studying a lot of travel analysis and hospitality analysis, what happened in 2003 post-SARS, and I've taken a look at what happened in Toronto and in Canada and how long it took. And overall, it takes about 8 months to a year until we start to see people's behavior normalize. Now, SARS was a fraction of COVID. So my gut tells me if it was 8 to 12 months after SARS, maybe it's 12 to 18 months, or maybe it's 18 months to 24 months before we resume total normalcy. But you got to get there, right? We have to live those 18 or 24 months before those urban or airplane areas become normalized. So if you're not in that position, take heed, do something about it now. The third trend that I see is that smaller is going to trump bigger. And what do I mean by that? I think people are going to gravitate towards smaller. I want a 4-bedroom experience. I want a private house experience. I want a log cabin experience. I want a tent experience at the expense of, I want all-inclusive 16 pools, 27 buffet tables, 2,000 people there, and I want to ride in elevators. That part of the vacation market, I think, continues to get hurt. Although, to be fair, we see bookings for 2021 on cruise lines increasing. Granted, at decreasing prices, but there's still people who believe in that, and that's what they like to do, and they will continue to do it. But would I be buying into cruises or urban areas or places that require people to travel on an airplane to get to right now? No. The decision is ultimately yours. I'm just sharing with you my thoughts. A fourth trend that's going to be really important, and you need to change this in your listings now, and you need to advertise it, and you need to train your cleaning staff, or if you clean yourself, everything must be sanitized, disinfected, UV lights, like whatever your process is going to be. Not only do you need to identify it and train and put it in place, you also need to market that. So that's the one area where hotels might have us host beat, because they can do all of these things really quickly. They've got the money to invest in these different technologies or solutions, and individual homeowners don't. But if we do, and we should, then we need to market it and give people our comfort and safety that their family and their loved ones are coming to stay in our cabin, in our cottage, in our house, and our house is equally disinfected, sanitary, and on par, if not superior, to the big hotels. And then I shared with you earlier, I think that we are starting to see, and the data corroborates this on HostSaver, people really taking charge of their own business. And I think that on a forward basis, people are going to have deeper relationships with their guests. It's going to be less transactional. It's going to be more about getting the right tribe to your place and then having them come year after year, repeat business, and owning that. So those are the kind of things that I see. And I want to share with you now on this quadrant a couple of things. So on the first scale here is going to be generic. And on this scale here, we're going to put unique. Okay? And then on the top here, it's going to be money. So high dollars and low dollars. This same analysis can be done in any different business, and I just want to fill it out for the short-term rental market. So keeping in mind the trends that I just had, let's identify what like generic and low would look like. Companies like Walmart play in this area, and IKEA. One of the wealthiest families on the planet, multi-billionaire out of, I believe, Sweden. Very hard to compete in this space. You need real economies of scale. You really need to know what it is that you're doing. And so this quadrant is a quadrant that I don't recommend for short-term rental hosts at all, because you're just competing on price and scale. And by the way, there's not too many winners there. It's kind of like an oligopoly is what we're looking at here. Now, what about high-priced and yet generic? This is kind of where the rental arbitrageurs have been living, and we have companies like Lyric that raised a lot of money and have since let go a lot of people. Lyric, Sonder, etc. Right? It's all about, they charge more money than these cheap people, but it's pretty generic. It's like a nondescript 1 or 2 bedroom condo in whatever, pick a city, Nashville. Again, I don't see that as a future of where we want to go. I've never really thought that that was a very good business model. I think seeing what happened here in COVID and all of the different blow-ups and closures and layoffs and, down funding, that's sort of not really good. I don't encourage that. Which leaves this side, and this is what I've been teaching since I started this YouTube channel. I want everybody to be unique, differentiated, have your personality come out. We talked earlier in other videos about Etsy, right? Like if you're an artisan and you're doing something great and you're crafting leather goods or you're making paper mache, whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's unique, it's one of a kind. It's hard to compete with. It doesn't speak to everybody, but for the right person, they must buy that. And then they become less price sensitive. So how do we do this short-term rental on the unique scale at low cost? Well, this is where we get really creative and we see some really great people doing amazing things. We can have things like tents, RVs, cabins, right? It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be an experience. It has to be unique and it has to speak to people. I don't particularly play in this area, but there's nothing wrong with that. You can do quite well. In fact, some of the most successful hosts dominate that area because there's a lot of demand, not a lot of supply. It doesn't cost very much, and therefore your profit margins could be significant. So this is a very attractive quadrant. If you're in that business, stay in it. If you're thinking about getting into the business, that's a good place to go, especially if you're capital constrained. The area that I tend to invest in and continue to think is a really good area is this upper quadrant. This is where I play. And here what we're selling is a unique experience that has the following things. We're in individual villas or homes, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedroom villas. it has privacy, it has comfort, it's in a unique location. I want it to be somewhere that people drive to and can have things that they want to do that they can't get anywhere else. And so if you stop and think about the places that I'm investing in currently, I'm sitting here right now in Jackson Hole with Erica. This is a brochure that one of the property managers sent, and they did an analysis before COVID, but these are the kind of things that I looked at before COVID, and I look at it especially post-COVID, and I want you to think about. This green line down here is airplanes. And what you see here is our peak months for people coming to see Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Park. The summer months are the peak months. I've said that in videos before. This area are people driving. So people drive here, which is really good post-COVID. There's a big spike in demand, and I have a private villa, duplex, penthouse, all these things that make it really unique, and so I think I'm pretty well positioned. I'm also in the process of developing a project down in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, which is going well. We're opening this summer, construction is continued, and I'm really psyched about all that. And 94% of the visitors to the Outer Banks of North Carolina drive, and we're offering them something unique. We're speaking to the right tribe. So while this is a less than ideal time to be launching, I think we will do okay. We're not going to have the best year ever, but we will survive until next summer. There will be demand. We will have people driving there. We're creating something that doesn't exist, and so therefore there's not a lot of competition. And so I just want you to think about a very simple analysis with 4 quadrants. Go ahead and plot. Where are your current short-term rentals? And where do you want your future short-term rentals to go? I would love to hear your comments below, so please leave them. And as always, I'm going to just ask you, if you like the video, then show a little bit of love and like the video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, well, I just don't know what you're waiting for. Let's get started, friends. The best is yet to come. Thank you so much.